Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Eternal Card Breakdown. My name is Pojo, and today we're going to be talking about the new promo card, Daraka Loyal Guardian. This just came out on May 19th for the next 7 days. As always, if you win a game in ranked or draft, win a PvP game effectively, you are going to be able to unlock a copy of Daraka Loyal Guardian for free, after which it will be craftable for, I believe, 2,400. So, yeah, these are exciting, fun cards to be playing with that tend to be designed to shake up the meta in some way. Sometimes they are designed to really shake up the meta by answering a particular option. Sometimes they are designed to push a deck that is basically doesn't really exist yet, like for example a stun deck. Daraka Loyal Guardian is a 7-cost 7/7 in triple primal that says stunned enemy units stay stunned while you have Daraka, and summon stun an enemy unit. So it is a 7/7 that locks down any unit that is played against, but only for the amount of time that you have this Daraka. Although it's possible, it has to be this Daraka. So yeah, that's kind of an interesting option. There is currently another Daraka that is a 6/6 that also does a similar thing. It stuns and locks down a unit permanently and then buffs Eileen with an Aegis. This card is a little bit different because what it is primarily doing is it is supporting other stun archetypes as opposed to supporting Eileen. It is also a little bit more expensive, and the stat line is a little bit more inefficient. 7 cost is typically not great for a 7/7. It's not a bad stat line. It is a little bit bigger than most of the big units in the game. Generally, big units tend to be around 6/6, and in colors like Time, they tend to be 7/7s or 8/8s. But this is about a average stat line, a little bit higher than average for your sort of basic big drop. And with a ground unit, it doesn't feel too bad to have a 7/7. It will typically trade up and be defensive against a wide variety of units while also being just generally pretty strong in that respect. On the other hand, the card is not terribly survivable, and the fact that it is an Ice Sprite effect at a very expensive cost means that it's pretty vulnerable. It's very likely that this can get killed by something like Annihilate, and if you have this card annihilated, then not only have you lost all of the tempo that you gained by using Daraka in the first place, but also Daraka basically gets removed for 2, which means that you're losing quite a bit of tempo to standard removal. That's the main issue with Daraka, is that if you can't defend Daraka effectively, the card does not have nearly as much strength as you would like in terms of what it can do overall. Now, the thing that is nice about Daraka is that it is both a proactive card. It is a proactive card in terms of how it relates to stun. If you're stunning a unit with something like the Invoke Water Conjuring or Flash Freeze or something like that, the card is stunned when you play Daraka, and then you play Daraka. The Daraka will then keep that unit stunned even if you played the Flash Freeze first. So it's not something where it's basically going to buff all of the cards that you're playing afterwards. It has an immediate onboard impact of keeping units locked down for a turn after it's played. So if your opponent is empty on power, they've been spending a lot of power trying to get up a decent defense against your post-crystallized board, and then you play a Daraka Loyal Guardian to lock down the one unit that they played, the other units that they have that have been crystallized do not unstun, meaning that you have a really reasonable sort of board state to continue an advance and push an attack, which means that Daraka will typically win the game within a turn or two of it being played. The main problem is that you do have to spec into Crystallize, you have to spec into Flashfire and Water Conjuring, you have to spec into a lot of stun in general, and that's not really going to be a way to win games for a lot of different types of decks. Most of the good stun cards are actually cards that have Daraka's text on them. Ice Sprite is kind of okay, it's at least reasonable, and Daraka at 6/6 is probably the other card that's that feels kind of okay to play at the moment. We're doing Majestic Skies decks with Ice Sprites and Expedition. We are doing a couple of things with Daraka. You can definitely play around with those types of cards with the 6/6 Daraka and get benefits from those. On the other hand, Flash Freeze and Water Conjuring haven't seen a lot of play since I think sets 1 or 2. They're both decent cards and certainly can see some play, and even Crystallize is a really, really strong option as a one-of in a market, but in all of those situations, you're probably just fine not really going after those, and that makes it I would say that this card is just a little too expensive and a little too over the top to get you where you want to be. It doesn't have enough immediate onboard impact. It is really nice in the post-crystallizer Flash Freeze board, but it just feels like getting the Daraka out in that situation might be too rare of an event for it to be particularly strong. Still, it is a nice benefit if you're playing some sort of interesting stun-based aggro, and you can potentially do a lot of interesting things with that. But overall, I think the card is just like a solid like D in terms of promos. It's not going to be amazing, but if you can get the exact right deck for it, then it's certainly something that has a decent amount of strength on it and gets you a decent amount of push. I think overall this card needed to be like a little bit cheaper, maybe like a 5-cost 5/5 or something like that. Something that actually like gets you a little bit more of an oomph. But we already currently have like a 6-cost card called Spitflame Draconis that does this job really, really well. A 7-cost 7/7 is not going to do the job any better than Spitflame Draconis currently does. So I would say that in terms of its overall impact, it's a neat expedition card. It's not going to see a lot of play in Throne. Certainly something to be playing around with Crystallize and having a little bit of fun with, but we'll see if the card has any legs. I am fairly doubtful at this point. That's basically our review. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, I am on YouTube, Twitch, Patreon, and Twitter. You can find me in all of those places as Loco Pojo. And to the Twitch folks, let's get back to some streaming. And to the YouTube folks, thank you so much. Have a lovely evening, and bye.